Hey everyone, and welcome back to another comic review. We are reviewing issue 2 of Cyberpunk's Trauma Team series. So we are halfway through because this is, 2 out of 4, halfway through the series. What's gonna happen? Now, those of you who tuned in for the first review probably remember that I thought the first issue was okay. I kind of questioned the logic of saving someone who probably cost the trauma team a lot of money, because the idea is that they save people for money and they don't care who it is, they'll save you so long as you pay your insurance type thing. So now issue 2 is picking up from where we last left off. They're trying to get Nadia to snap out of her, panic attacks. She's going through a little bit of PTSD while they're on the mission, and now realizing that she has to save the guy who killed her original team, she's, getting the flashbacks. She's actually a lot more passive in this comic than I thought she would be after that realization. It kind of seems for the most part she just goes along with it. And then we have this interesting scene, once again, bringing up the moral complications of Trauma Team, when her teammates have been shot and they're dying, and she has this instinct to go save them, but she's not supposed to save them. She needs to save the client. So she is corrected and goes back to saving the guy who is, of course, a villain who killed her original teammates. Interestingly enough, she takes off her helmet in this scene. For most of the first issue, whenever she was on the field, she kept her helmet on, and I didn't mention it in my original review, but that does make it very complicated to tell what emotions she's necessarily feeling if you're just staring at a helmet the whole time. All that being said, you can still accomplish that. You can keep the helmet on and still accomplish showing their emotions to the audience. I guess a good example of that would be Iron Man. They have kind of a camera inside his helmet so you can see his face even though he keeps the helmet on the whole time. They could have done something similar to that, but I'm guessing maybe the artist had some kind of conversation where they were like, hey, if you want me to draw her emotions, I need to take her helmet off. But other than just showing her emotion, probably doesn't make much sense for her to take her helmet off in this instance. We do get more flashbacks of her teammates and the guy who was killed, who we kind of saw the face of. And it is good to see more flashbacks of her teammates to establish the type of relationship that they had with each other. This guy, for instance, was fucking her. That is that is some huge information that should be known, that they were in a relationship when he died. And it does kind of feel a little bit bizarre, like learning about this in issue 2 rather than in issue 1. There was a lot of blank space in issue 1. We didn't really know anything about her teammates. We just knew that she was going through some kind of trauma, and she was, from what we knew at least, getting over it and wanting to go back to work. We saw this guy's face, and we didn't see anyone else's face, but we didn't know what the relationship necessarily was. We never really got to establish that until now, and I do kind of wonder why did they hold off this information till issue 2. I guess maybe they thought it would be more dramatic in this spot. And in this flashback, when she's talking to the guy, he basically tells her, we shouldn't let our relationship cloud our judgment in the field when we're saving people. And she's kind of already hinted at some sort of rebellion against the company, or at least like some rebellion against their ideals. She doesn't think that the customer is always right. She doesn't think that they should be saving all customers, that they should be selective and not save the bad guys. And during this conversation, she turns to him and says, when it comes to saving a customer's life or saving mine, what would you do? Which he doesn't really answer, it just kind of cuts off. So back in the present, he's like kind of helping the medtechs fire at the people trying to kill him. They have one of their flying tanks outside. They just need to like get him to the tank or whatever. I guess I should call it the ambulance, but it's a fucking tank. And this is when she finally makes the decision, no, I'm not gonna save you. I'm going to kill you for killing my team and killing my boyfriend, I guess. And this is where we end issue 2. her holding a gun to this guy's head and saying something good. Now, some of you might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, I have no fucking idea. I have no idea what this means. This word bubble confused me so much. I had to constantly look back to see if I missed something. I'm thinking to myself, is she answering a question? No, nobody asked a question. Is she finishing a sentence? The only sentence that was not finished is this, and something good does not finish this sentence. Nadia, something good. That doesn't make any sense. Is this a typo? Did they just publish a typo in their comic? I don't know. I don't understand. But anyway, basically the second issue was just working up to her actually rebelling against the team, actually wanting to take action in her own hands and distribute her own form of justice, which, like I said, I was expecting her to want to do immediately. She seemed a lot more passive for most of the comic, and I guess the idea is because she's having these PTSD moments, she's not acting instantaneously. So we still don't really know this bad guy's story. Like I said, I didn't really see that much reasoning behind them choosing to save this guy's life when he cost Trauma Team a lot of money. If they're always chasing the money, why would they just allow somebody to destroy their tanks and kill off their employees like that? It kind of seems like you're just encouraging that as being a thing that anyone can do, and it's a-okay so long as you buy our insurance. But it's also possible that they don't actually know that this is the same guy who killed off her original Trauma teams, because she doesn't actually say anything. She doesn't actually explain to her current team who this guy is and why she's having these PTSD moments here. Maybe I guess in the third issue she'll have to explain herself, because she's kind of trying to kill him now. I also kind of wondered what was going on in this scenario when he did take out this tank and start killing all these medtechs. I mean, I guess you would assume that it was because he wanted to stop them from saving this guy, or maybe the medtechs shot at his own gang members and maybe he was avenging them in some way. But it just kind of seemed like he really didn't like medtechs. Judging by what we've seen in the flashbacks, it doesn't actually seem like he was after the guy that Nadia was saving. He kind of lets Nadia go with the guy, and he could very well attack the ambulance she's leaving in, but he chooses not to. Instead, he just watches her leave. We know he has plenty of experience attacking the ambulances. Jeez. Yeah, I'm curious to know what his story is through all of this. He seemed cooperative in the second issue. As far as comparing the first issue with the second, I think I enjoyed the second issue more. The first one just seemed like kind of a wonky start. Like I said, they didn't really establish much of a relationship between Nadia and her teammates, or why it was so sad that they died, and all of that they seemed to try to squeeze into the second issue. This story itself, I think, is very simple, but it's being kind of stretched out over 4 issues. Maybe they could have made it shorter in hindsight. When it's all published, I think they're going to just bundle them all into a graphic novel, and they just kind of figured, oh, we can make a little bit more money if we release them all as separate issues. I assumed that the last 2 issues, things are going to speed up a little bit because they still have questions that I would like answered. But yeah, that's my review of Cyberpunk issue 2. If you've been reading this series yourself, definitely give me your own thoughts on how you feel about how this comic is going along. Perhaps your own predictions of how this is going to end, how we're going to wrap this up. And if you've enjoyed my review, of course, leave a like on the video. It does help. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Program restart. Shutting down all systems.